dangerous.
Bad feeling about this.
You don't seem to understand something.
The thing that I like most about being a dad is that I see that I'm about to impact the world. What's up? It's your boy Humble Dad back with another edition of Humble Dad Podcast, and we got a great show. Tonight, we're going to kind of go over what we did last week and do a little bit more this week. And got special guests back in the building. And it's all about how to stay married. Now, a lot of people talk about the 50% that don't stay married, but I want to talk about the people that do and why they do stay married, so we can help some of those out there that are looking to be married and those that are married. And so the question that we got for the warm up, the icebreaker today is, what is something you can do better than anyone else you know? All right? What is something you can do better than anyone else you know? And we're going to start off with the most arrogant guy on the panel, Mr. Prototype.
What's good, man? Man, you gonna have me dropping bombs and using my little soundboard next time.
Hey, I'm with
I come in.
I'm with it. Hey, let's start with it, bro. Hey,
man. So I got two answers for this one, right?
That's a
so
bet.
My first answer is be me. That's the only thing I can do better than anybody else in the world. The other thing is nothing at all, because there's always somebody better than you at doing anything. So it's just that clear, you know what I mean? So
that's a dope, arrogant answer right there. Listen, nobody gonna really know what we talk about. I'm gonna just keep that one in the air.
Hey,
all right. And then we got coming to the stage. Back, she been absent. You know what I'm saying? She going on all types of trips. You know what I'm saying? Probably because tax season almost over. Welcome to the stage, Miss Shay. What's good with you?
Hey, tax season is not almost over.
It sound good though.
It do. I wish, but no.
Okay.
So what I do better than anyone else, I would say I can crunch numbers better than anyone else, and I can dance better than anybody else.
You can dance. You missed out on the dancing at the party.
I did. I really did.
Yeah,
I would have been on
the
dance.
60-year-old women. They was doing like they own, like they.
I saw they 2-step that they were doing. They came in with a whole routine.
They did. That's what's up. Hey, and then we're gonna welcome back our newcomer of the year award. We're gonna give it to the church lady. We call her Miss Simone.
Not the church lady.
Listen,
everybody,
only because of backstage talking, man.
Right. You know what? I'm kind of with initially I was thinking there's always somebody that's better at something. But you know what? Since we're talking about marriage, I'm gonna say love my man. Nobody can do that better than
me. That's nice. That's nice. Mm-hmm. And then we got coming to the stage, always up for a controversial conversation. You know what I'm saying? Both of them in the back chat is good with it. But we're going to welcome to the stage Mr. Sir Charles, the God.
Oh, greetings, family. Good evening.
What's up? Welcome back, bro. Listen, your introduction last week, bro.
It is high.
That was the way you started it off was not expected of what it was going to end up with. But I thought it was pretty dope, though. All right. So what you got for us?
I get messages from the ancestors. That's all. You know, they tell me what to say. But yeah. So the question: what can I do better than anyone else that I know?
Yes, sir.
I can control my feelings and emotions better than anyone that I know. Being a practitioner of Stoicism for about 20 years, even before I even knew what Stoicism was, it actually when I first found out what it was, and I started naming it and telling people what I was practicing, then they thought I was weird and a devil worshiper or whatever. You know what I mean? But it's not a religion, and it's actually freed my mind of all those things that a lot of people worry themselves about. You know, that you got no control over. So it's blessed my life.
That's what's up. That's what's up, man. I appreciate you being back. Hey, and then I got my sister in love. You know what I'm saying? I'm trying to give her a moment because she eating backstage, you know. And I don't know if she ready or not, you know. Miss Hairdresser extraordinaire. Miss Shan in the building. What's going on, Shan?
Thank you. I literally just walked through the door.
Hey, I appreciate you, man. Listen, some people called in sick today, you know what I'm saying? And you made it.
No, I was getting there. Bless God. But I was also thinking like prototype. I mean, I'm the best at being me. I don't need to be like anybody else. I'm the best at being me. And here's one that my brother-in-law is going to like. I am the best at driving. The best driver I know.
Listen, the reason why we know I know that's a lie. She from Houston.
Don't know good drivers come out of Houston up.
Listen,
hey, do you parallel park with the music blasting? Can you parallel park with the music blasting?
Yes.
Oh. Hey, well, they say that's how you know a woman crazy if she parallel park with the music blast.
Your cars nowadays turn down for you.
I will accept that. It'll be the second time in a week and a half I was told that one.
That's hilarious. That's hilarious.
Thank you, Miss Siobhan.
That's hilarious. It is what it is. All right, bet. Here we go. So we're gonna start off the question of the day, so to speak. What did you look forward to in your marriage? What did you look forward to in your marriage? So for those that have never been married, you can think about it like, what would you be looking forward to? What would you look forward to? Those of us that are married, we can think back, and those that have been married, we can think back on what were we anticipating to look forward to in our marriage. We'll start with Sir Charles, the God, and then you'll choose.
Okay. Well, when I was married, I looked forward to our relaxing days, our days where we can just veg out on the couch and do the Netflix, what do you call that, marathon, especially on like the inclement weather days when it's raining or snowing outside, and you can lay on that couch with that blanket, you know, and binge watch movies. And yeah, I looked forward to that because we were both very busy. Being business owners and career people, we were both very busy, and so those times where we had to make time for that. Let's go with Shay.
Okay. I look forward to spoiling him and just like those little things that he just mentioned that I really paid attention to. Giving him those things. So yeah.
You say you look forward to spoiling him?
Mm-hmm.
Okay. So what's in a way that a woman could spoil a man?
With attention, with the things that he desires, with sex, with just whatever his needs are. So giving him more than what he initially probably expected. So exceeding that expectation.
That's what's up. Who you got going next?
Hey, Shan.
You on mute.
Me and this computer. We've been together all day. And now she want to act up. Thank you, ma'am. For me, it was just an all-around companionship. So whether that was a date night, whether that was pillow talk in the morning, pillow talk in the evening, having dinner together at home once the kids went away, you know, and got in the bed, or doing even family activities together, as long as there was that companionship. Whatever we shared that we liked, even if we shared things, as a spouse, you have to support your spouse in their gifts, their callings, the things that they are pushing and driving for. So even those things had their moments when I look forward to doing those things as well. So, yeah. And last but not least, how can we forget the prototype?
I think we got two people. We got two people left.
Simone, I forgot about you. Oh, girl. Okay, I'm gonna go.
How you leave your light skinned sister out? That's crazy.
You see how he do me? And he say sister in love.
Listen, I just be consistent though.
Single ounce of love since I got on here. Go ahead, prototype.
Man, so for me it was you kind of took my words. But everything, the companionship, family, legacy, but I grew up as the only child, so I always wanted to see how I would do, do a family. So that was a big bucket list item for me. One thing I do like, so I always like the athletic women, you know what I mean? So one thing I enjoy is like going to the hoop court and seeing another couple and like dominating them on the hoop court, or like on the softball field or anywhere, like, you know what I'm saying? Like, so going and dominate other families with my family, I enjoy that. I look forward to that. So
that's pretty dope. I never thought about that. That's pretty dope though. It's on you, Simone.
Okay. I love that. I love all of those answers. And I think there's a part of me where all of those answers would be true for me as well. But the first thing that came to my mind was unlimited sex without conviction.
Come on, keep it 100, church lady.
I'm just like, okay, so this little backstory. Dwayne is like, what did I come in on? Right. Because so I did grow up in church, and we learn about sexual integrity, and you shouldn't have sex before marriage. That's biblical. But we fall short. And so I actually fell short and had my son at 21. I was a single mom with him when I met my husband. And so that for me was one of the things, like I, made that decision different times. And every time there was conviction that came along with it. And so when I got married, like I remember that night, the honeymoon night or whatever, I was just like almost emotional because I was like, finally, I don't have to have conviction after this. You know what I mean? And so that for me, that was like one of the big things I was looking for.
Can I second that?
Listen,
I didn't that one, man.
You didn't even let her finish her truth, though, prototype.
I know, but that's such a good one. That's such a good one, man. Like it, I didn't even think about it, but that like hit my soul right there, like literally, like
100%, 100%. I was going to say that one. But I'll go back to the first question. As far as like what I do better than anybody, I would say love my kids. Like all the other answers were some of the ones that I wanted to say, but as it relates to being able to, I also think I'm one of the dopest dads on the planet. When I hear my kids say stuff like, "I don't think other dads do what you do, Dad." One of the things I do is I ask them to rate me. Probably once a week. I ask them, scale of 1 to 10, how am I doing? What I need to work on? What did I do well? What type of time do you need from me? Things of that nature. So I would say loving my kids for the first question. And then for the second one, what I'm looking forward to in my coming up marriage is building, because she's an entrepreneur. And so the ideas that we come up with, they seem to work. It just, for me, I just got to be consistent at those things. We have probably have 3 or 4 businesses. I think one we came up with together and we're working on, and the other ones we had, and then we build together with them. She has a makeup school, which I help with, and then she's a beautician. She has as well, and have a moving company, and then I do real estate, working towards doing that again, right? So I'm looking forward to how we build our businesses, and then we teach our kids to do the same. So that's what I'm looking forward to. All right. So that's some good stuff, man. So that's like a little icebreaker type question, pretty simple. And then we get into stuff like, how people kind of have their ideas of marriage. And so the goal for this particular episode is like kind of educating people on relationships and marriages. However, here's the question or the statement. So I'm gonna put up a statement and you just kind of let us know what you think when you see the statement. Marriage is a risk. Marriage is a risk. And we'll start with Shay, and then you can let us know who's going to go next.
All right. So what do I think about when I see that marriage is a risk? Well, I think that risk isn't necessarily a bad thing. So you have calculated risk, and I'm more of a calculated risk type person. So meaning that you evaluate what's in front of you and you assign how risky it is based upon the behavior or the outcome. And so I do think that there is some risk involved. However, it's up to us to just try to do our due diligence as much as possible to ensure that the risk is minimized. So we all know one risk is like divorce. Okay, that's a risk. We all know trying to merge two people into one, you're going to get that anyway, right? But then you look at the opposite ends of that to see what does merging two people into one look like, and how can you really build something that's going to be greater than the risk that you're putting out. Finances can definitely be a risk, or whatever assets or anything that you have. I know some people are open to prenups, some people aren't. I'm definitely a prenup favorable person. And because to me, that helps to minimize the risk exposure, right? And I'm definitely one of those who can build and can do something with nothing, basically. So that's what I think about. There is some risk involved. There is some of that risk could be trauma and just being able to navigate those things. But I think we have other mechanisms that helps to reduce risk, like premarital counseling, communication, really understanding your partner, asking questions, effective communication to help minimize the risk that is involved. All right, Dwayne, what you got?
Yes, marriage is a risk, but it's a risk worth taking, and you can't gain if you don't try. So I think the biggest risk in marriage for me is failure, because you're committing to something, and I think the biggest risk is whenever it doesn't work out. But that's like everything we go for in life. We have success and we have failures. This is just one of the ones where you have a huge stake in the game. So that's it. Do I pick?
Yes.
All right, Shan, you want it? Come on with it.
I was sitting here looking at these words, and I'm going to change it. Okay. Marriage is an investment. And the reason why I changed it is because with any investment that you make, you also take risk. Okay. So for me, marriage is an investment, and investments come with risk. And one thing about investments, you have to continue to look at those portfolios. Your house is an investment. You have to get maintenance on it. So for me, the risks are things that we don't do. We get married and then we forget about the maintenance of a marriage. Okay. I don't buy a house and not cut the grass, or not make sure the plumbing is taken care of. Or, if something breaks, I don't fix it. I make sure my roof is changed every 20 years. I make sure my gate is, changed out every so often. So there has to be maintenance. And if you don't maintenance, then you just make the conditions unfavorable. You grow the risk of something poor happening or divorce happening. So I think the same way we invest in houses, we invest in the stock market, we make sure we check in on those investments. We also have to do those things within our marriage, or we greater our risk for something happening. That's my 2 cents, and I'm going to go over to Sir Charles the Guide.
Good evening. You took a large portion of my answer, but I'll add to it. Yeah, I think I'm going to say marriage is a risk because anything that you invest in is a risk. Whether it's business, stocks, any kind of relationship, because you're investing your time, your talent, your treasures, your emotions in the hope that your partner receives your investment well and reciprocates accordingly. But we do know that no matter how well you know a person, sometimes they wake up on the wrong side of the bed and feel like they're done with this, right? And there goes your investment. But I definitely think it's a risk worth taking. Like the brother Dwayne said, definitely a risk worth taking, but it is a risk nonetheless because there are no guarantees unless you ask Prototype. He said it's gonna work. In his voice. Oh, it's gonna work. But so that's it. That being said, that's my answer. And let's go with Prototype. See what you got to say.
Look, man. So, I mean, is it a risk? No, I don't know. Not really. I mean, you're risking hell. You know what I'm saying? Like, to go back to, I don't know if we're all believers, but if you are a believer, man, it's not a risk at all, because if you're going to keep doing what you're doing, you're going to hell. So there's that, right? So, I mean, that eliminates the thinking of, man, is it a risk? Is it going to work or not going to work? Two, I do think it's completely up to the man if your marriage works or not. So if it works or if it don't work, it's your fault anyway. You know what I'm saying? So, I mean, that just is what it is. I don't really, I just, you got to be a good leader in it, man. So if your marriage don't work, you know, that risk is one you can completely control. So
I like to hear what the ladies say. Think about that. If if it doesn't work, then it must have been the man. What did y'all say to that?
Lies.
No, I'm asking women though. I'm asking.
I don't agree with that because I think it takes two people. But I disagree with that completely. That's why I just laughed. But
I understand the thinking, with being the head, right? But I also think that if the other partner, a man can do the leading, he can be great at it. But if a woman just does not want to be there anymore, I wouldn't blame him for not doing or being or giving his all. If a person doesn't want to be there, some people are just going to do any and everything. It doesn't matter the effort that is being made. So I wouldn't solely put the blame. I think every situation is different and they need to be looked at. I don't think you should necessarily blame either when you're going through a divorce or in a failure of marriage. It didn't work out. What is the benefit of blaming somebody?
So the man can understand that he need to step up and do his job. Period. Like, that's just frankly what it is.
Because what does that mean? What is your job, right?
Your job is to lead accordingly. Like, I don't think women can necessarily help but to follow the correct man. You know what I'm saying? So, y'all are here to be a help me. Y'all can't even help it. I just listen to y'all sometime and how y'all get fooled by men, and we blame y'all for getting fooled. Like, how do you not see that or see this? You know what I mean? But I get it now. And like I said, it's completely up to the man to, make his marriage work or to not take advantage of women. And, because a woman just, a woman's a woman, man, and her emotions is first. It just is what it is.
I really want to jump in there, but I know Shay and Simone need to go, right? Y'all still
go ahead, jump in, Simone.
Yeah. So back on this, marriage is a risk. I'm gonna bring it back around. I actually initially I agreed when I saw the statement, but then I was like, you know what? Let me look up. So when I looked up the definition of risk, a situation involving exposure to danger. Because of that, I would say marriage is not necessarily a risk, because you don't necessarily, when you're getting married, expose yourself to danger, right? I do think marriage has ups and downs, and like you all very eloquently shared, there are calculated decisions and ways that you go about making those decisions, and you have ebbs and flows in every marriage. But I don't think it's necessarily a risk, because if both are coming into it with good intentions and purity and trying to love the other person wholeheartedly, there's no need for danger in a marriage.
That's what's up. Is there anyone that didn't answer the question? I think everybody answered the question.
The shade.
But you wanted to say something, sir. Charles, go ahead.
Yeah, hey, I think Prototype just like to argue. I don't even think he believes some of the stuff he says. Now, here's the thing. I understand you saying taking responsibility, because I'm all for taking responsibility for everything that happens in my life. But blame is another thing, because blame implies intent. Right now, I was married to a woman who had an insatiable appetite for penis. Is that my fault? Because is that my? Oh, well, I'm saying, is that my fault that she had childhood trauma and she had daddy issues, and these are things I didn't know anything about prior to us being locked in. And so, is it my fault because her appetite was insatiable?
Yep.
Okay. All right. Well, hey, and if that's your perspective, brother, I really hope I hope no one breaks your heart, because at no point will I ever take responsibility for another woman's actions, and she didn't appreciate what I was bringing to the table. So that being said, that was my first marriage. I was married twice.
Can I step in? On that one, I am going to agree with Prototype.
Mm-hmm.
And this goes back to episodes ago, because we talked about the vetting process.
Mm-hmm.
And so had you vetted that woman appropriately, you would have known that you needed to give up that D's however many times a day.
Right.
You also known if you could have handled that prior to getting married.
So
her. It should have not come as a surprise after marriage.
No, I get it. But I got married when I was 21 years old. This was my childhood crush. In fact, it was my sister's best friend. I've been knowing her since I was a shorty, right? And so finally, she gave me a shot, and I went in probably more in lust as opposed to love. I didn't know what a wife's supposed to do. I had very limited life experience at that time. I'm not making excuses. I'm responsible for choosing the woman. I'm not responsible for her insatiable appetite for penis. I'm not responsible for that. And here's the thing: I had a high sex drive. It just so happens that she liked variety, and hers was higher than mine.
The fact that you said she gave you a shot tells me there was more than just her drive for penis.
Well, so, I mean, at the end of it, listen, there's so much more to the story that I could.
I'm sure there is, but just the words you just used, she gave you a shot.
Yeah, that's what I felt. I felt like she was older than me.
Listen, man.
She was 3 years older than me. I felt like, oh, finally she coming around. That's how I was the guy in the strip club telling the strippers, you ain't got to do this, girl. I was that guy.
You hear who you were? Like, it's your fault. It's your fault.
Yeah. No, I was that guy. You know, so I thought you can turn a into a housewife, right? But I didn't know her history though. I had no idea her history. Women can be very deceiving, and she come off like this church girl. She was raised in church, praising the Lord every Sunday, Wednesday night Bible class, Sunday school. You know, she on a praise team. I was fooled, brother. I'm telling you, she even got me in the church. Here's the thing about it. I'm gonna leave y'all with this. I'm gonna yield the floor. She liked me because I actually embodied a little bit of street at the time. I'm not gonna say I'm this street guy, right? But enough street the way it tickled her fancy enough to pique her interest. When she got me into church, I turned my life over to the Lord. Straight turned her off, bro. Turned her off. She was no longer interested. I promise you, that's what happened.
That's because you didn't become a preacher or a deacon.
I did become a deacon. I'm a deacon, bro. I went from selling weed and guns and all kind of gang banging to I became a deacon, and hey, the well ran dry.
All right. So what is being said is so from Prototype perspective. So this is the thing. I can understand Prototype's perspective because if the statement is true as it relates to leadership, when something doesn't work, just in general, I go with relationships. Oftentimes, when a relationship doesn't work, everybody say, "What did the man do?"
Mm-hmm.
Okay, so that's going to be a natural blame. So if that's the case, then everybody pretty much says, what did the man do, and why? Because why would you leave a good dude? That's what they would say, right? And and then if the opposite, if he was a bad dude, then that means okay, you left because he was bad. So ultimately, it's going to be the man. If you go to in sports, it's typically the coach. If you go to a job, it's typically the boss, right? The leader is always to blame when something doesn't go right. Whether you want to accept that blame, then that's on you, but you gonna get blamed, right? And so accountability and blame, yes, they're two different things. One, with accountability, you should have self-accountability. Blame, somebody else is going to be doing that to you, right? As well. So I totally understand the perspective of Prototype because men need to be vetting better, right? And we cannot say, well, because I was young. Well, everybody's young, and everybody doesn't make those type of decisions. So we just got to be like, you know what? I made a mistake. It was on me, right? And so what I did was I learned from it to make a different decision next time. So you can accept blame, if you accept accountability, then you're accepting blame, in my opinion. Okay. So that's just my thought and my take on it, right? So Dwayne, did you get to answer the question about, yeah, you did, about marriage is a risk? Or did you have something else to add?
No, sir.
That's a bet. All right. So we're going to transition. I'm going to try to see if I can find this clip, and I want to see what y'all think about this clip. I'm trying something new here, and I appreciate y'all being my guinea pigs today. All right. This is for the ladies.
How to win your wife. Okay. How to be romantic to your wife. Dine her, call her, hug her, support her, hold her, surprise her, compliment her, smile at her, listen to her, laugh with her, cry with her, romance her, believe in her, cuddle with her, shop with her, give her jewelry, buy her flowers, hold her hand, write love letters to her, go to the end of the earth and back for her again. Here's how to win your husband. Show up naked and bring food.
All right, who want to go first? What's your thoughts on that?
Go ahead, Simone. You look ready. That was excessive. That was excessive.
You see how she was in agreement the whole time? That you were like, yeah. I mean,
I stopped about midway because I knew he was playing games.
Yeah.
And so I would be like, get on out of here. But that was a little excessive. Like,
I mean,
why was it excessive? What part?
I don't think let me not say that. For many women out here, those things are the expectation, right? But one thing that I learned in my marriage and divorce is there should not, you living in these unrealistic expectations of people is a problem because we are human beings. No one is going to live up to your expectation. It's too hard. And women do a lot of mental mind things without ever verbalizing. You know, if you want to say, oh, I like flowers, that's fine. If he wants to get you flowers, that's on him. I'm not expecting you to do that. But if I am loving him the way that he wants to be loved, then he will eventually, like, he's going to love me the way that I want to be loved. I shouldn't, I don't know. It was overwhelming. Honestly, I like to be by myself. I need my alone time. So you're going to do that? Like, just go away.
I actually hear you.
Holla at your girl.
Yeah.
Go ahead, come on. What you got?
No, I was agreeing with Shane. I did feel like it was funny. It was funny. That's what it was meant to be. It was a joke. But it's interesting, and Shan actually said something. I think you said something to the effect of loving, or if you can ask for those things, and if he wants to get them for you, fine. But if you love a person or love him, I think you said the way that he wants to be loved. We were just talking about that at work today. The love language test. If you've never taken the 5 love language test, take it. It is amazing. And that actually helped me and my husband, because many times well, for me, I'll speak for myself. I was loving my husband, or, showing him love the way that I wanted to be loved. And it was interesting when I said this, because there was a time where I thought that, show up naked with some food and that's all that man want. And then I learned that's not the case. That is not the case. It's a joke and whatever. But when we took the love language test, we realized, like, for me, my number one love language, like, to show me love, is acts of service. So when my husband says, babe, do you want me to go to the store? That right there, okay, you can get it. Like that just, you can get some sugar, or for him, it's words of affirmation and quality time. And I didn't know that initially. I didn't know that for him, it was important for me to tell him what a good job he's doing and how much I adore him and how handsome he looks, right? Because he's confident. I didn't think he needed that, but it makes a difference. And so that's why when we were watching that video, I was like, yeah, that's cute. But no.
Anybody else?
I mean, I think the clip simply depicts the idea that men we're fairly simple, and we're not as complicated as women. I think everybody on the panel can agree to that. I mean, the ego stroke. Men want their ego stroked. We want to know that my man, I could say the sun is yellow and Prototype's going. I don't think it is. But at the end of the day, men, we like our ego stroke. We want to make sure that our investment, that you appreciate our investment, and the way you show us that that you appreciate our investment is by sexing us, letting us know that we're doing the right thing. You appreciate us, because otherwise. A man does not. The worst thing a man could feel is unappreciated. I think that's just my opinion. I think when a man feels unappreciated, that's pretty much the sign is that the marriage is or the relationship is on his way out. I think when a man starts to feel unappreciated, because we'll go hard for you as long as we love you. We'll go hard for you. We'll work ourselves to the ground to make sure we get you straight. But when you don't appreciate that stings. It stings. So that ego stroke helps us know that you appreciate us.
I'm not disagreeing with what you just described. I'm disagreeing with you calling it an ego stroke, because the ego stroke is, like I said backstage, it's an exaggeration. I don't need no exaggeration. If I'm doing good, hey, you doing good. You don't gotta put no extra sauce on it. You know what I'm saying? Like we had a whole episode about this on Prototype Dad, man. And ego stroke is not just, hey, thank you. If I did a good job or we did a good job, let us know, whatever. You know what I'm saying? Say thank you. And I think that's what Sir Charles is saying. You know what I'm saying? So I'm not disagreeing with that. I'm just disagreeing with how you labeled it, right? As in stroking your ego. And stroking your ego is exaggeration on, you know what I'm saying? Like, for instance, you not that big. Oh, it's the biggest ever. I don't need that. You know what I'm saying? Like, you don't got to tell me that. Like, you know what I'm saying? So, and that's in anything I do. Like, if I did a good job, hey, you did a good job. But I think it's corny to, over embellish. You know what I'm saying? Like, you did the best thing. That's corny to me. I don't need that per se.
I think I don't want to argue semantics. First of all, when we talk about ego, as soon as you take a word ego, people think it's a bad thing. Ego, the word in itself, is not a bad thing.
It's not a bad thing at all.
It's essentially a sense of yourself. And so when you basically, the sense of myself, when I think of ego stroke, you are basically appealing to the sense of myself. Like, you're letting me know that I'm doing the right thing. Because how do you know if you just doing stuff and your woman just sits there like a bump on the log?
It's the exaggeration, and you're right about the semantic, but it's an exaggeration.
If a woman does nothing and to let you know that you did the right thing. I like what you did right there. You know what I'm saying? Okay, I don't want to get too graphic because I know we got church folk watching. But if you're doing the mattress mambo, right?
You think church people? Listen,
need
have
to
you
hear
not
it
read the
too.
book of Song of Solomon, bro?
They need to hear it too.
Yeah, but
Song of Solomon was out there.
If you lying there and you're doing the mattress mambo and little mama just laying there looking at you, right? She's not giving you the reaction that letting you know that, hey, you're doing the right thing. I like that. Right now, I don't know, because I only been with 2 women in my life. I'm lying, but what I'm saying is, I've actually had that experience once before, where hey, just laying there like a mannequin, man. At the end of the day, that lets you know you probably ain't doing something right with this particular woman, right? So what I'm saying is that it's not just sexual though. Let's go beyond then. Let's go. Okay, so like Simone said, her love language is acts of service. Mine is too, right? So now you perform an act of service. And if this woman does nothing to acknowledge the act of service, are you really thinking you're doing the right thing for this woman? You might think you're doing the right thing for yourself, but that's all I'm saying. Ego stroke, basically.
I got you, sir. So I got a different question then to kind of go to that for prototype. Does your wife ever say thank you?
Yeah.
Does she ever say you did an exceptional job? Or she just say you did a good job?
I'm not a words of affirmation kind of guy. So
I understand, but my question she say it was that over exaggeration. I'm saying, like, I guess for you, right? Over exaggeration is something. It would have to be something that you have a standard for, and she went above that you didn't. Was like that was uncalled for.
Mm-hmm.
Right? That's what I'm saying. So, but in her mind, she's trying to just in Sir Charles's words, stroke your ego, not necessarily to make it be fake, but she's giving you words of encouragement, right? Not to say it doesn't have to be in your mind. You're saying, well, she's exaggerating these words. What that means is you don't even believe about yourself.
Facts,
right? But that's one of the dopest things about your woman, that she sees something in you that you don't.
No.
What you mean, no?
No, that's not.
You're not gonna be right on this one, bro.
Nah. I mean, that's not my particular case. Like, you know what I'm saying? Like, it's funny. It's hard for her to give me a compliment. She doesn't, because I typically say I know. You know what I'm saying? When she does give me a compliment, so.
see, and that's why I jump in on that one, because as you said that, my mind flashed back to the question you asked me. That don't come natural.
Yes, I remember
that don't come natural. I'm like, words of affirmation. That's that 80-20 right there. That you have to be 80% out of 10 times you say something. 8 of them better be words of affirmation, meaning building that person up. And that's the question you asked. That don't come natural to you? And that's where I was like,
words of affirmation doesn't come. No, if I call it, I don't give nobody nothing. So I always call it straightforward. If you did something good, hey, good job. If you did something bad, you did something bad. I always just call it forward. You know what I'm saying? So my circle will tell you that. Like, I don't give anybody any extra fluff. If you heard good job from me, please believe that's what it was.
No, I'm with you on that. And I think that's the point I was getting at. Like, even especially from a coach's standpoint. Like, from the coach's standpoint, he's going to let you know whenever you do well, and whenever you don't do well, he's going to let you know as well. But there's no ratio that comes to mind. Well, wait a minute. I'm at 70% right now. I got to make sure I choose wisely.
Right. So I don't have the ratio. What I was saying is, if I'm speaking that way to you, you know I love you. You know what I'm saying? It's not from a point of hurt. So anything I say, I don't have to build up. The love is there already. The trust is there. So that there's nothing for me to build.
Well, I think there is, because like you can have an athlete and they're extremely talented and they're good, but they're having an off time. Sometimes and I think that's what I was saying. Sometimes you got to dig off in their tail, be like, hey, you got to pick it up. And it shouldn't come like that. Like the words of affirmation is primary, and that's all I was getting at then. So whenever you say it now, like I could jive with you.
Like, but whenever you said that don't come natural, I'm like, no, not necessarily, because I'm not looking for the ratio. I'm looking for the action. And if the action you did well, then kudos. Yes, I'm gonna let you know. If you didn't, I'm also let you know as well. So my wife is bringing to my attention, hey, 80-20. And I'm that what I was saying at that moment in time was that's tough. That's difficult to then be able to ratio it out to make sure that you are meeting that 80-20 mark.
I'm not thinking about, like I said, it's not to build up or say. The thing about it, if somebody can, if you have to always say something negative, right? If they're just not doing well, I think that's when love kicks in, where you, hey, let me help you through this to help, you know what I mean? So you can start doing this well. And I guess the quality time and the acts of service is the gauge there, right? So at that point, when somebody sees you spending time trying to help them get better, you know what I'm saying? And you can keep saying what you're saying. So there's no real buildup that you really got to go through if you're just showing somebody that I'm not going to let you fail alone. You know what I'm saying? Like, it's one thing to be like, you're doing a bad job and to walk away from the situation. And there's another way to be like, you're doing a bad job. Let's do this. Let's try this. Maybe this is going to help. You know what I'm saying? Maybe I need to show you something. That's when another part of love kicks in. So, I mean, what's the 80-20? Like, there's no 80-20 in words. There's, you're doing bad. All right. Since my son struggles with homework, you're doing bad with grades. All right, we're going to sit here and I'm going to do the work with you. You know what I mean? Like, that's what I'll do, opposed to you're doing bad. And I'm going to just wait for him to get a good grade. Nah, we're going to figure this out together. You know what I'm saying? So let me walk down the road with you.
To your wife, though, because I was
writing. I was about to write a question. I was about to write the question.
It's the same. It's the same thing with her. If she's doing something bad, you know what I'm saying, or not doing whatever I need her to do, I'm gonna sit there and work with her. Maybe there's something we don't understand. Here's the plan. You know what I'm saying? This is what I'm trying to accomplish. This is what I need us to refocus on. Why are you complaining about this when this is the focus? Maybe like the fact that you're over here complaining about XYZ and I need ABC, you know what I'm saying? We're misaligned. Okay, let me get us back straight. So I mean, it's just the work and the communication. It's a huge thing. I wasted like 4 years not understanding how to communicate. You know what I'm saying? Like, I could throw my first 4 years out the door. You know what I'm saying? Just because I didn't know how to communicate and understand how to lead by communicating the things I need and other things that I notion. You know what I'm saying? Thinking that you could just let somebody grow. Things don't grow on their own. You gotta, you know what I mean? You gotta water it. You gotta resoil, repot. You know what I mean? You gotta work with it for it to grow.
That's what's up. Go ahead, Shay.
And I think that's where I agree with the video. So I agree with the video in a sense because of what Prototype said. Marriage is evolving and growing. You're not going to be the same person that you were in a marriage 5 years ago, 10 years ago, 15 years ago. And I initially looked at the love languages and I was like, well, it really depends. It's situational. It depends on the time, the place, the situation, on what type of love ingredient or love language that I will receive in that moment. So I know in therapy, my therapist, he was like, he didn't really like the term love languages. So he told me to map out my love ingredients. So what are the things that holistically I need in order to feel love? And it wasn't, and I realized through that exercise that it wasn't just like, initially I thought I was acts of service and like, oh, if you do that for me, I'm good, which that is part of it, but it's so much more deeper than that. It is holistic affection, it is communication, it is spirituality, it is a chemistry, me being able to be spontaneous. Like, I know certain things about myself that if I'm feeling these things at different points in time throughout my marriage, that I am going to feel the love. And when I am feeling the love, I'm able to operate at my highest self, at my best self, to be able to give my husband what he needs as well. And I do think it's a matter of, men are simple. Like he said, those two things, I would hate to say like it's just sex, but you definitely have to have sex in there. I remember saying that to some wives, like, y'all better start having sex with your husband. And they were like, that's not it. That's not the only thing. I'm like, are you crazy? Like,
yes,
men want sex. Like, they want sex. give your husband sex. Like, that's what you're supposed to do. And we act like it's such a huge foreign thing. Now, if you giving him that,
especially if you're a Christian.
Especially
if you're a Christian.
Yes, Christian women.
It literally says it
with their husband.
I was about to
you
say
have
biblical.
nasty sex. You have good
It
sex.
is biblical.
You have crazy sex. You have sex. I mean, you get it in. We gotta let that sneak in with Christian wives. Get it in with your husband. But I do think, as it relates to the video, that yes, men are more simple, so it could be those two things, and where we're over emotional sometimes. Like I remember I was telling my man, I was like, "Hey, I'm so sorry, I didn't mean to say that." He's like, I didn't care about that. Like he totally was like, "Okay, no, you don't need to apologize because that didn't faze me." Like things don't faze them as much as it would faze us. So I do think that there is a laundry list, because sometimes we get in our emotions. Sometimes we want to come home and just vent. Sometimes we want feedback back. They don't know what the heck is going on. So I think it is a laundry list of give her this, and do this, instead of like with the men, it's just those two things. So
that's what's up.
No, I do understand on the video real quick though. I think the difference in one of the conferences we went to, what they were talking about was the difference between a crock pot and a microwave. At the end of it, you'll get a meal, but one's quicker than the other. So as for the women, like in order to get them going, or you got to turn on that crock pot. They say you got to start that joker from in the morning, and then by the time you get home, you got to tend to it a little bit, and then evening time is. That's tough for me. Although
you walking around and get mad.
You better send them text messages in the morning.
See, exactly, man. You got to start early on, and I'm like,
gotta get up early.
If you give a good kiss out the door and a little butt grab, you already getting it.
See,
tap me off. Tap me off.
Listen, and this is what's interesting, and that I've been around so many women. I realize and talk to women as well that y'all talk about it probably more than we do as it relates to sex. So that's interesting, because even on this podcast, y'all talk about it, but it's good though, because we're talking about it in the context of marriage, right?
Yes.
Dwayne, I did cut you off. I do apologize for that. But so this is good. So the video was kind of trying to, in my opinion, was trying to deliberate the point of that women seem to have a lot of things of far as needs that need to be met comparatively to men. We really don't have a lot of requirements, as far as our needs are to be met. So I guess my question would be kind of falling back on what we talked about before. Y'all kept calling it an investment, right? And so since we listed the things based on the video, my question would be, how do you manage your investment? Or what advice would you give to people on how they should manage this investment called marriage? And anybody can go first, and anybody can respond or even ask a follow-up question.
I'll kick it off. So I will say, I said last week, my husband and I just celebrated 17 years. Listen, okay, it's work. And the first few years, much like Prototype was saying earlier, I won't even say that. The first couple of years were good. We were still getting to know each other. We came into it with a blended family. So in our marriage, he had 2 girls previously. I had a son previously. And then together we now have 2 girls. And so it was a lot of different variables. My point in saying all that is, initially, I don't think either of us really knew how to effectively communicate, like really listening to one another, understanding what one another's needs were, like I said, what our love languages are, things of that sort. And so that took time. That took a lot of prayer, a lot of people who we could go to, you know, who are rooting for us and encouraging us. And so now, I mean, even with our kids being younger initially, I know my husband, I mean, he's an excellent provider. And so that was his main focus. My focus was the home, the kids. And so everything I did focused around them, and I put them first, which I know is completely wrong. And so, I mean, obviously your kids, you know, they need you differently at different phases of life. But even in that, I had to come to the realization that my husband comes first after God. And so once I got to that point, that was the first step. And then now our kids are a little older. Our youngest is 14, oldest is 22. And we make time for us. You know what I mean? Even in the midst of business, even in the midst of life and work and everything that comes with it, the good and the bad, there are moments where, you know, because our work schedules are completely different. He works nights, I work day. He works during the week or weekends, I work during the week. And so there are days where maybe on a Monday afternoon, he may text me and say, hey, babe, you want to have lunch? You know, or we couldn't necessarily go and do, you know, a huge vacation or anything like that for our anniversary, but we decided to do a staycation. So we just got a room and it was just us on a school night. You know what I mean? The kids were here and we live like 3 blocks from the school. So they good. But our son was here. He's 22. And so those things are so important. And we've had some very tough conversations, some conversations that, you know, brought some tears and some anger and some just the ugliness, but the truth that needed to be had, if that makes sense. And so my advice to anybody is effective communication, learning how to really listen with the intent to understand your partner and not just with the intent to respond to everything that they say, and really looking at things from their perspective, trying to understand, okay, how is what I'm saying coming across to you? Or is what you're saying, am I perceiving it correctly? You know what I mean? Having those tough conversations and spending time together, quality time.
I would add to that. I love the effective communication, and I think like any event in any investment, you have to be committed to the process. So when you think about investing, you know there'll be some highs and there will be some lows as well. But you're investing into it because you know that there is an outcome that you want to reach, right? There's an expectation that if you are successful in this, and you will reap a harvest, whether that harvest is your kids grow into amazing adults, you are able to create generational wealth, whatever that is for your family, you're remaining committed to that process. And then like any investment, if it's not going well, you pull your investment out, but then you put it right back in because now you're getting in low. So it's just trying new things because it's evolving, because it's growing. I don't think you ever get to a point where it's like, okay, this is it, we have arrived, and just knowing that you may have to pull out and pull back in, and pulling out, pulling back in, meaning just get back into the ring and keep fighting so that you can remain committed for the long term, for the long haul, and just trying different things. I think that is what can happen. Sometimes we get stagnant or we get stuck in one phase. So just keeping that creativity alive with trying new things, and looking to see who is the person that your partner is now. Because I think a lot of times when one person changes and they say, oh, I like this now. And it's like, since when? You ain't like that before. And it's like, okay, well, this is who this person is now, because no one is going to stay the same throughout the entire time. So just being committed to the process, and being committed to being able to be creative and strategize and do things differently, and truly understand who that person is at that point in time as you're both maturing in life.
That's what's up. Anybody else?
So I want to know, am I the only single person on this panel? Okay, all right. I got some company out there. Yeah. Now, having been married twice, I have a very unique story, right? I'm shocked no one asked me what happened, but because I'm an open book. But I called for the divorce in my first marriage. In my second marriage, I'm going to answer the question though. But in my second marriage, my wife left me, but her brother told me that she was testing me. She wanted me to fight for her, but I didn't really know. Anyhow, very strange situation. In either case, I can go back to either one of those women today. Only because my investment, the way I managed my investment, I was all in. And that's why I say, I'm gonna burn bridges like unless I want it burned and destroyed, then I'll purposely burn that bridge. But my investment, time, money, emotion, this and that, I'm all in. That way, if it does fall apart, it's not on me. And I can rest well knowing that I tried my best. So that's the best way I could put it, man. Go all in. The higher the risk, the higher the reward, as they say in business or in stocks or what have you. I think it's the same applies in marriage. The higher the risk, the higher the reward. But you can also crap out, you know what I mean? So, but I think it's worth it. I don't regret anything. Those were two beautiful moments in time that I'm appreciative for. But yeah, that's how I would manage my investment. Go all in.
So, Shan, were you about to say something?
I was. And this is probably not going to come out the best, but it
Listen,
is.
Why y'all be trying to preface y'all statements, man?
I said it is what it is.
No,
honestly,
no, you prefaced it.
I did preface it.
Let's say it.
I did. Okay, because I honestly, being married and divorced, I feel like we put so much pressure on the marriage relationship, and we give ourselves excuses. Right? I'm divorced, so at some point, I came up with some reasons why it wasn't going to work out. Right? We don't need to get into my story. You have relationships with your children, and if they don't do something that you want, you don't put them out. You do not feed them. You do not take care of them. You have dogs, birds, cats, rats, snakes. And if something happens, you don't put them out. You don't put them out. Your homegirls, your homeboys, you allow them to say, be, do some of the most incredible things, and you don't cut them off. Some of y'all, and I'm not talking about the people on the panel, I'm talking about people in the world, have gone through some very traumatic childhoods with some trifling ass parents, grandparents, aunties, uncles. And if they called you up, you would still be there for them. And then we get into relationships with people that we say are supposed to be long-term, and we find cracks, crevices, speckles, pieces of dust, mustard seed grains, and we try to throw it all away. Mm-hmm. So the same amount of energy you invest in your homegirl, your homeboy, the pet that you picked up off the street, your friends, your family members, you need to go above and beyond that with your spouse. You invest more in money markets, and systems and processes, businesses. You will put thousands of dollars into a business, watch it crash and burn, and then go and collect more money so you can do it all over again. But in a marriage, if something does not go well, we throw it all away. So when we're talking about how do you manage your investment, treat your marriage like you do every other relationship. Move with that much grace. Okay? I'm sorry. God bless. Hallelujah.
Why did you think that wasn't gonna be good?
I don't know, because I'm sick of these folks.
No, you're just so insecure.
Stay married, folks.
Hey, listen. I don't know that shit. I have a clue of who the Shan is. They got to preface those statements, because we done had some conversations where you ain't preface nothing.
I'm sorry.
You know what I'm saying? Prototype. What you
I'm
got?
working on my
Look.
ease.
Okay.
'Cause, you know, I can just hit you and go on about my business because who
I feel-
cares?
I got you.
I'm working on it. Okay.
That's
Stay married, folks. All right. Just stay
Mm,
married. Stop this foolishness. Quit giving yourselves ways out.
mm.
Okay. Your children grow. When your baby's spitting up on you, think it's cute. Okay. Then they become toddlers and they start coloring on your walls, wiping poo on the doggone walls. Okay. Tearing up. And you be like, oh, right. You know, again, come on. Your marriage has to do the same thing. All right. I'm muting myself. I'm done with y'all tonight. All right.
Prototype. What you got, bro?
Look, to what Shan said, everybody can go. My mama, my daddy. If you don't align with what I got going on, if you're not within my peace range, you can go. You know what I'm saying? So I don't treat my kid. I don't care if you're not within the parameters. you will go. You will be escorted out the door. I feel like I'm a good company, right? I'm the Google. I'm the Tesla. You want to work for me. You know what I'm saying? So being that I have great benefit package, you know, the company environment's chill, it's good. Everything in the business is running smoothly. You know what I'm saying? You don't got to worry about nothing. The dental's covered. You know, I even cover LASIK. You know what I'm saying? Like full gym, you know, at the facility. Lunches is good. You know what I mean? We got a great cafeteria here at Prototype Dad. Like, so if you don't stay within the realms of what needs to be done, look, you can go. You know what I'm saying? You'll be escorted out. I just wanted to chime in on that part. As far as managing my investment, man, like I said, I run a pretty good ship, man. So being that I'm the leader of how this investment goes, like, you know, I could literally, you know, take it anywhere I want to go. I don't blow it. Like, you know what I'm saying? So I just make sure I manage, I communicate. And I think being transparent about the goals is what, right? So I look at myself as a business, right? So if you work for a company and, you know, the CEO came down in a meeting, was like, this is where we're doing this quarter. This is how we're handling business, blah, 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 blah. This is what I need everybody to do. You know what I'm saying? And as long as everything line up with whoever's working for you, and then on the top of that, they can accomplish their goals in your system, then that's a match. You know what I'm saying? And that's what it's really all about. From a man's perspective, right? You find you find a woman will get in the system if she can accomplish her goals in your system. And as long as you keep that a thing, she ain't going nowhere. You know what I'm saying? Is the moment that she can't accomplish what she needs to accomplish within your company, then she might bounce on you. But as long as her goals could be achieved, you know, under your umbrella, shit, she good. So be a good company, man, and that's my advice on managing investment.
That's what's up. Dwayne, did you speak on this, bro? Dude, you in this mute button, bro. Like, do I need to text you next time that you on mute?
You know what? True story. My wife, as I was about to jump on, she was like, "Don't forget to take it off mute." Baby, gone somewhere.
She having those tough conversations with you, bro.
Yeah. Yeah. No, I was just sitting here thinking about my 401k. Speaking about investments. No, but no, it's interesting because ultimately we invest in for the rest of our lives. I look at it like a Prototype. You're talking about that package that you got over there with the Tesla and Google, and you got all the bennies. That's how, as for in a marriage, I think both of us are investing in each other. And I think one of the biggest investments is time. Because even to the 401k, you know, most people spend their whole lives, you know, working in a company to build that investment so that once they retire, they can live accordingly. And then they retire and they die. And I think that's rough because we spend all that time accumulating and not much time spending. So I think whenever someone says to spend time, I think that is correct use of wordage to spend time. Time is a commodity. So as for an investment, as for two people committing to each other for the rest of their lives, they're willing to invest the rest of their lives in order to make that relationship work, make that marriage work. And that's how I look at it. If for me, I don't need no prenup, because the great philosopher Bob Marley says, all my cards are on the table, and I'm willing and able. So that's how I look at it with the marriage. Like, there ain't no secrets. I ain't got no poker face or nothing. What you see is what you get. And I think earlier we were talking about a different topic, and what came to mind for me was vulnerability. And in a marriage, like, you are risk. We're talking about risk, and I think exposing yourself to risk or exposing yourself as the vulnerable parts of yourself in a relationship, that is risk, because some people will take advantage of that, your vulnerability. So you don't want to show that. But I think in a marriage, you have to show it all. And as for an investment, you're all in on that investment. So how do I invest in my marriage? I desire to be open and honest about who I am, where I mess up, where I have opportunities to grow. And I do take criticism. I don't take it well. I'll be honest with y'all. I don't take criticism well, but I have to take it. I have to be able to reflect on it. And I have to be able to say, okay, this person, they love me, and they're telling me this for a reason. And in marriage, that's that give and take in that investment. Now, back to that 401k. I know if I go and try and pull that joker early now, they're going to tax me, right? They're going to tax me because I ain't ready to pull that yet. And they set it there for a reason. Like, it's not a savings account. For now, it's one for whenever you get to a particular point. And I think as for marriage, if we were to get a divorce, I just heard divorce is not cheap. Okay. And if you have kids, they do this little thing with like child support and stuff. And I heard that's not cheap either. I don't care. I ain't trying to experience none of that. So yeah, I'm in it for the long haul.
That's what's up. Did somebody have something to add? Man, the back chat be.
I was just going to say, when we think about investment, it's compounded. Like, it grows because of compounded interest, right? So it's because
the ninth wonder of the world, said Albert Einstein.
Exactly. So if you understand that, then you understand a few things. That one, if you leave it there and continue to make wise decisions or wise choices, it will compound. If you read the charts, if you read the data, if you study what's going on, then you will make the decisions that you need in order for that investment to grow, right? And if at any given point in time, you may have to take it and move it to another one. So you definitely have to be watchful. You have to study. You have to be intentional about your investment so that you don't take losses, or if you do, those losses are minimal compared to the growth that you've seen over time, right? And so you're willing to, in some instances, allow that money to stay because of the growth that you've seen over time. So when the lows do come, you don't just pull out right away. You stick it out, you stick it through, and you remain committed to that investment because you know you probably haven't even broke even because you witnessed so many gains. So I think you just have to be willing to do all of those things, study it, and be prepared to make changes when the time comes. But as Dwayne said, you can't pull out too early because then you may miss your greatest wins. You may miss the most gains that you've taken if you pull out too early, if you change early. So you definitely have to study it in order to be wise enough to make the decisions on what needs to happen with that particular investment.
I do have to say something on that study. My wife tells me that. She's like, study me. And I'm like, man, yeah, baby, I got you. I'm sorry. But I'll say from the investment standpoint, sometimes I'm not risky with my investment. So like I think whenever I just set, that set and forget, I'm a victim to that because I realize, like she said, I can't just do that. I have to be moving things around. It's not like a retirement account. This is like stocks with her. So going back to that video, I'm gonna be real with y'all, okay? I'm gonna be extreme. Like half the things that they said to that lady, I'm like, man, come on now, y'all wasting time. Y'all wasting time. But to them, it does mean something. And I do think there is an importance, like as for with me, like as for if y'all are speaking to me, if what was going on tonight was speaking to me, which it is, I would say there's an importance to diversify your portfolio. Not like Sir Charles was talking about though. Not like that. We ain't doing that around here.
You mean in the way of failed marriages?
No, I'm saying about the thing. Okay, we
are the lady
exclusive around here. But yeah, no, I do think it is important, and I do have to admit, like I am lacking at that because I'm thinking my retirement, my investment is set, like just coasting, but you can't coast sometimes. Like as for with them. With my wife in particular, I realize I have to go outside my comfort zone. I don't like buying flowers, man.
They're pretty expensive, bro.
They are.
But does she like them?
They're gonna die. If they're gonna take care of them, they're gonna die. They're gonna be dead.
Man, let me do something else for you. But it's like, man. That's
I
tough.
actually don't like flowers either.
I love them.
Let me just, and I think it
love them.
depends on the one, right? See, and so that's the difference. And then you have to know your wife. You know what I mean?
He's
But I
saying his
love
wife
people
like
that-
flowers.
Study me. I'm like,
Right.
man, my Scantron is
Yes.
blank.
And if she loves flowers, then yes, you have to buy flowers. Me, I'm a shoe person. Like my husband, no shoes and purses, honey, all day.
But
But
is it-
he had to learn that. You know what I mean? Oh, go ahead.
I'm sorry. I thought you.
No, go.
I don't want to be rude, but okay. So now, if your thing is flowers, would it be asking too much for you to take care of those flowers, or you just sit them on the table and let them rot and let them dry 3 days?
I buy myself flowers once a week, so
It's impossible to keep a flower alive. That's a plant.
My ex-mother-in-law, for some reason, she knew all the tricks. She put a penny in there, aspirin, cut it like an angle. Them things would last long time. You buy flowers, she will make them last. She knew there are ways to keep flowers up.
Dwayne, what you need to do is figure out how to buy a rose bush, boo. They don't sell.
No, hey, I
And
like
then
that.
you can just clip them.
Period.
I like that.
See,
I like that.
I do have to say that. So my son is finding a way to cut himself out the wheel. So we'll scroll through Kroger's or something like that, and he'd be like, "Ooh, there's flowers. Let's give mom some flowers." I'm like, "Boy, get your tail on. Let's go." Messing with my retirement like that. But yeah, and then we'll go home and he'll tell mom. His mom will be like, "Oh, sweetheart, you try to give me some flowers." I'm like, "Dang, boy,
You're not listening to the Lord. He's speaking to you
He
through that
speaks
child,
through
and you
children.
just chunking, you just moving it right on to the side.
And here I am telling him, Daniel, come on, don't let the devil use you, son. Come on, let's go." I'll work on that, Shane. I'll work on that.
This is hilarious. So what it kind of boils down to, what everybody said, is communication, right? A healthy dose of communication. I'm interested in understanding. I think I don't know. Maybe it's the me being a man, is that are women wanting men to be honest, or they want men like their husbands to speak to them in a way that is comfortable for them? So, for example, men are honest with each other. Like me and Dwayne, I can tell him exactly what I mean, right? And there is no sugarcoating what it is that I'm saying. Prototype gonna say exactly what it is that he want to say. Sir Charles, the guy, gonna say exactly what he want to say. But when we're talking to women, we have to consider their emotions. However, you all say y'all want us to be honest. So help me help other men understand what that is. You want honesty, but you want it in a particular way.
Can I touch that for a minute? So I know for me, I do like honesty. I will say, okay, first off, like tact is something that I've had to grow into. I used to kind of jokingly say tact was not a strong suit of mine, but through growth and learning more about myself and just people in general, I've learned that you can speak the truth in love, right? And so I think as women, I know, again, speaking for myself, I want my husband to be honest. I want you to tell me, like when I ask a question, I genuinely want to know your thoughts. I don't want you to sugarcoat it, and I don't want you to hold back because you think it might hurt my feelings. I want you to share your thoughts and your feelings with me. Now, where I make the mistake sometimes is, number one, I'll ask way too many questions at a time. And so I'll be like rattling off questions like, well, what did you think about that? Well, how did you feel? Well, here's what I'm thinking. And my husband will still be on question number one because he's processing and trying to figure out how to answer the question. And I'm like, I don't understand why you're looking at me like that and not responding to what I'm saying. And he's going, Simone, because I'm trying to process. So I say, yes, be honest. But I think just as, you know, we've talked about our kids and investments and all of that, just as we have for any of us who have multiple children, I'm sure our children have different personalities, right? And how you talk to one, you can't necessarily talk to the other, because I have a myriad of emotions and personalities in my house. And that's the same thing with women. You know, there are moments, I think, where you can be hard and just come with it, just real raw. And perhaps there are other moments where you have to be a little more gentle and tender, depending on what the subject matter is. But as long as you're speaking the truth in love, I don't think you can go wrong.
I think honesty can only go so far with women. Bottom line, I'm gonna give you a very
don't be nervous about it, bro. You see how he's having to make sure that he says it in a way. Think about, wait, just for a moment.
I just want him to get it out.
I know, but he's thinking about that. I'm talking to a woman.
No, because it's personal. No digging any woman on here.
That's
I'm
fair.
sure they don't fit the description. I'm guessing. I don't know, but I didn't make me. I didn't create me, and sometimes my desires. I wonder where the hell I got them from, but I'm blaming this one on the movie Boomerang, right? We knew Eddie Murphy's fetish, right? I was a shorty when that movie came out, and I think I developed a serious foot fetish. My second wife, beautiful person, man, angel, bad body, very smart. I'm a sapiosexual. I knew that before the word became popular and everybody started throwing it around. I was attracted to her intellect. But my foot fetish is so strong to whereas feet can make or break my performance. And so I hated her feet, bro. Like I hated her feet. And we could be in the midst.
Bro.
See them jokers?
Bro.
I gotta make up an excuse.
No.
I'm keeping it a buck. How do you be honest?
How do you
be honest?
I'm with you.
I'm with you. Honest with your woman. This is an amazing woman. How do you be? And I didn't know that it would become such a problem over time. But I hated the shape of them. Even if she had socks on, and she keep socks at the shape of them boys. You know what I mean? Like so. But bad body, beautiful person. I'm saying, but if we could be in position doing the horizontal hold down, you feel me? And if I see them feet, I'm like, my back. My back. Ooh.
Nah, I could never date somebody seriously if they got ugly feet.
And I found that out the hard way. And so here's the thing. So like going into relationships going forward, it's like now I know I'm serious. I don't know if I need to sit on somebody's couch. Is there a cure?
How did you get there? Did you tell her? Did you tell her that you like her?
No, man. Because the thing about it, I knew why her feet were messed up. The beautiful part, she had a beautiful story, right? She grew up dirt poor, and she worked her way up to, she was making $300,000 a year. You know what I'm saying? But when she was dirt poor, she hadn't had new clothes until she was an adult. So a lot of times, and this is a funny story, but it's real. like, so she hadn't had new clothes until she was an adult. So a lot of times her shoes were either too big or too small. So she would opt for the too small shoes. You know what I mean? And so I appreciated her coming from that and working her way up. But it was like, this was what I had to, and I never told her I had a foot fetish ever because of that. I couldn't do it, bro. I couldn't. How do you be honest? You're like, yo, your feet turn me off. I love everything else about you, but your feet. It ain't like she could get a what would you call that? You don't pedectomy, a pediostomy. What would you call it? I don't know.
I don't think you have to. You don't have to. I don't think you have to relay that message, yo. Because there's plenty of men who don't care about feet. So you just let her back out in the wild. You know what I'm saying, and let somebody else catch her. Hey,
to Sir Charles, that don't mean nothing. Okay, all he knows is, hey, first date, the beach. Every last one of them. Yeah. We go to the beach.
You know what? Here's the thing. I had a conversation with my closest homeboys, and I told them this. I'm like, bro, man, her feet though, everything is amazing. Her feet, and I feel.
So you can tell your homie, but you couldn't tell her.
Hell no, man, because she can't do nothing about it. It's not like she can do
it.
You
got on one knee and didn't see her feet.
No, I've been seeing her feet. My guys was like, bro, if you pass on her, you stupid. And I was like, man, you're right. Because she's an amazing person. She's an amazing person. But I didn't know, like, over time.
Yeah, you should have went to counseling, bro.
No.
Huh? You say what?
If it was that bad, you should have went to counseling. Or you definitely shouldn't have married her if you felt like your
okay, think about how crazy that sounds, though. Think about, no, I'm being serious.
It's not crazy. It's not crazy.
No,
I didn't say that it's crazy.
He said he's crazy. It's not crazy.
Guys on this
to the general public,
say the feet is very important. So
I didn't know. Like I didn't. Yeah, I thought
you could get past it.
Huh?
You thought you could get past it?
I thought I could get past it,
and you couldn't, and that's fine.
There's going to be something. I mean, we have dated men. Those of you who are currently married, and there were those things about them that we probably could not stand, and we felt too embarrassed to share that with that person. There are just some things that are really going to hurt a person's feelings, so you just choose not to share it, and you find other ways out. So I can understand.
I think dudes
not
can handle it though. Most like a high percentage of dudes can handle what y'all women say. Because we've had to at some point.
No, because sometimes the dick wasn't good, and we're not going to tell you that your dick is trash.
Amen.
Listen, what I'm saying is that I'm saying that
you
most
tried
dudes,
that, it didn't work. Oh, we tried that way. I was still sitting there looking at you cry. I was
What if it's
I was waiting on you to get the hell up.
How did we get
Man, look, if it's trash, it's trash. You can tell
it is trash. But as a man,
we know if we're giving you wood or not.
You don't want a woman telling you your dick is trash.
I wouldn't care.
That's what I'm saying is that if you did, a dude can handle it. Is what I'm saying. Most dudes can handle it.
No, I don't know. Humble Dad. I don't know if a guy can handle that. Hey,
I think a dude. Yeah, he hit it. You can't say nothing to me if I hit it.
You still got it. It's
ain't nothing to say. Yeah, I got the draws.
Hey, Prototype. You are wrong for that, brother. You are wrong for that. You said you winning either way. Oh my goodness.
What you talking about?
I saw what you did there. I got you. You said, "Hey, I got mine." Next.
But would you marry a woman who says your penis is trash?
She's not gonna marry you.
Look,
I mean, she might not. But to your point though,
the family title.
Women do put up with things that they don't like about a guy. Maybe because the comfort level that he might be able to provide, the protection or whatever, because he might be a stand-up guy. But here's the thing. Here's the caveat to that. A lot of women don't really want to or not aware of is that the dick could be trash because of something about you. Like, here's the thing. I'm telling you, if a woman's feet is pretty, I might get another 2 inches from somewhere. I might find 2 inches. I'm saying, like, that, where'd it come from? Hey, my God. But, I might have a belly button or something if them boys are trying. I'm just saying.
I would like to say this, okay? To being on the question at hand.
I'm sorry.
I can appreciate these types of platforms because it allows men to be completely 100. It allows women to be completely 100, where we may not, there are going to be certain things that we hold on to when we're in relationships. I think it's just people trying to be considerate of others' feelings. But in these types of forums, you can let it loose. I appreciate all of this honesty. So, Charles, we already know where you coming from the minute I see your face. Prototype, I know where you coming from the minute that I see your face. We already know who you are. We have picked up on it, and we appreciate everything that you have to say and everything that you have to offer.
I don't know what that
Dwayne,
means. I don't know what that
we know
means.
what Dwayne coming with, and we know what Humble Dad is coming with.
What we coming with?
What does that mean? You know what we going like? What's that mean?
Prototype, most women consider you cutthroat. Like, no.
Neck
like,
brace needed. Neck brace required.
Pow, hit you with the 1-2. You're crying. Get the hell up. We got moves to make. Let's go. That's you, Prototype.
I ain't gonna lie. Yeah.
HD been always talking about statistics, and the statistics of some feats matter is 50% on this podcast. Is killing me right now. Like this.
Dwayne go flip them pages on that book.
If you care about the look of the feet, bro, you're not wrong. That's all I'm gonna say.
That's what I'm saying. Like for real, I'm not being funny
Like,
when
you can't.
I just want to say all feet matter.
Feet does not matter. No.
I tried to get past it, bro. Like, and I talked to my guys. They know how I feel about feet. And my closest guy was like, bro, if you pass on her, you stupid. And I'm like, damn, I might be. That is
But
stupid.
you not him and he not you. You know what I'm saying? You got to understand that. Like, they not you. They're not gonna live your life. You got to live with them feet.
But you know what I'm saying? Like, so my first, well, I ain't never been with a woman with ugly feet before. To be, like, so it's my first time.
So you saying you made an exception to your own rule?
Cause she's amazing.
It don't matter.
She's amazing.
You ain't never gonna get over them feet, bro.
I also said that the chick couldn't even put socks on because you was talking about the way, the shape of her feet through the socks was trash.
They were misshapen.
He did say the shape.
Girl, can you wear shoes?
Hey, she could have did those like those shoes that the divers wear.
Damn, this one.
You couldn't ready to see her feet.
Hey, Swim.
I've been trying to get to the last question for a minute, y'all.
I'm sorry, I derailed the conversation.
BFL, she gonna get a Brazilian feet lift. What is the Brazilian feet lift?
I was going to transition. Let me see if I can find this other clip, man. Oh my gosh. Okay, let me see. So speaking about communication and having a struggle, because that's what the conversation was about. Do women you want honesty, but if a guy has to give it to you in love, well, if the guy is telling you, he obviously does love you, in my opinion. Because, like, for example, if a guy said, listen, but I don't really like that dress, or I don't want you to wear that dress, or I think you're gaining some weight, like most women can't handle that, right? They'll say, why are you worried about what I'm doing? You know what I'm saying? So do you actually think that you could take honesty in the form in which it's given, and then you can say, well, I didn't really like how you said it, but maybe there's some truth to what you're saying, as opposed to what I think that most women do is that they would say, let me do what I do, right? How to stay the back chat, man, is on fire. All right, so I had this clip. I can't even get to it. Let me see what y'all think.
Man, I never saw it like this. Every interaction, no such thing as a neutral interaction. No. Every interaction is making a deposit or making a withdrawal.
Right.
Positive interactions is making a deposit.
Yeah.
Negative interactions, making withdrawals.
Right.
And these actions very often, it has little to do with intention. So there may be times where I'm making a withdrawal and I'm not trying to make a withdrawal.
Right. It could be literally a habit, like an annoying habit, things that people do. And if you're not having conversations and communicating that, then you can be frustrated with some of those things.
Yeah.
So it can be something as simple as that, or it could be a large thing like, hey, I'm never receiving appreciation.
Yeah.
And so when you're not receiving appreciation and you're working hard, right, guys? Appreciation is important. You're working hard and no one's ever telling you, hey, I see you. Man, that's the resentment starts to build. You're like, this is withdrawing. And then you walk in other places and people telling you how great you're doing.
Yeah.
Then it's like you're hearing other people make deposits in your bank and that's not supposed to happen.
Yeah.
And so, you know, it's
Ooh,
real.
that's good. That's good. Because what Harley says, you know that in love feeling that you have that people say that they lose?
Yeah.
All he says is that's the state of your bank account.
What are your thoughts? This will be our last topic of the evening. Anybody?
I agree 100%. I think every interaction is deposit or withdrawal. It's even with that last point of, you know, if you're doing a good job and people, you know, you're not hearing it at home and you begin to build resentment. I went through that. And so I remember it wasn't even as far as the good job. For me, it was the compliments. Because I have such high self-esteem, my husband at one point, he didn't think I needed to hear it. Like, you know, you look beautiful. Okay, that, you know, okay, you wearing that, you know what I mean? And so because I mean, my self-esteem was pretty high, but I would go out and other people would compliment me. And so it got to the point where I was like, wait a minute, what? Okay, why is my compliment not coming from home first? And so I started questioning that and I started feeling some type of way initially, but we talked about it. And I remember telling him, like, I should never be complimented first by somebody else. You know, like I'm just saying. Why are you laughing, Prototype? Cracking up. But that's how I felt. I'm like, honestly, like, you my man. If anybody's building me up, it should be you first. You know, and so, but from his perspective, he didn't think I needed that. And perhaps maybe there was a part where I didn't need it, but I wanted it. And so I do, whether you walk into a room and you roll your eyes or you walk in there and you smile, there's always an exchange. There's always a deposit or a withdrawal. I completely agree with that.
No, I agree with that. I remember dating a guy and I told him, I was like, I'm so proud of you. And he almost was like struck that I said that. And he was like, no one has ever told me that. And I was thinking, well, I never told you that they're proud of you. Like, he really took that to heart. But even one thing I would say that my man says now, he tells people, like, I make him feel like he that nigga. And I'm like, because you are that, you know? So I make him feel like he is that. And he strokes my ego. He tell me how fine I am. I tell him how fine he is. And it is an exchange. I do agree with that. Because I want to be his hype woman and he my hype man. And then together we do great things together. So.
Yeah. Oh man. Yeah. Yeah. That's an interesting one, man. I struggle with I guess my delivery. I try to put it behind the post so the person, like, you know, the porch pirates won't come get it, but the person receiving the message sometimes get mad because they didn't see it as they were driving up, so they didn't think the package was delivered. So I struggle with that because I think delivery is important, but some people, like, as for criticism, some people will take criticism negatively. And that's whenever you that negative reaction that you'll get. But I think just like I was saying earlier, whenever like criticism for me, like I don't necessarily receive it well, but it's necessary. So I don't look at those negative reactions as negative as they desire to make it. Now, if it's hostile, then yeah. If they're attacking your integrity, yeah. But if they're holding up a mirror and having you look at that mirror and you don't like what you see, I think that's an opportunity for you to make some adjustments and make some changes. So I do struggle with that. Now the positive piece of it, I struggle with that too. Dadgummit. So I'm struggling all over the place, trying to find that happy medium. But I'm sitting there thinking, like, is love a reaction or is love an action? Because I think it definitely for me, as I'm thinking about these, it is both. But whenever you do something out of love, that other person may not see it that way. And that leads to an opportunity for that communication as for what your intent is, because I think just like that, the whole love language, like if you think about languages, you could be having an interaction with someone that don't speak the same language that you do, but you might be able to understand what they're saying. But there are also times where you're having a conversation with someone who does not speak the same language as you, and you have no clue what the heck they are saying to you. So I look at it like, who is that now on for that reception of that communication? Is it on the individual or receiving it, or the one giving it, or is it on both parties? So I do struggle with that. So these are the conversations I would have. So whenever you look at positive and negative, to some people those words are relative.
So the video was kind of cool. If y'all mind me jumping in, but no, the video was cool. It was cute. That last bit of feeling unloved is your bank account statement, or I don't know, whatever. I don't know how I function. So it's like that Kanye line, man. Like any pessimist, I don't talk to them. So I only talk to people who make deposits, because that's all I'm doing as well. The negative talk I don't do at all, and that's probably why I can say things to people in such a way, because like I said, like we discussed earlier, the love is always there. My intent is never to harm, but only to improve. You know what I'm saying? So I appreciate anybody saying anything to me that I need to fix or anything, because there be people out here, like, you ever go outside looking a hot mess and don't nobody tell you nothing?
Or how about the boogie in the nose? How about the boogie in the nose?
Like you walking around, you stink, or like, you know what I'm saying? Like, no people ain't your friends, or they ain't your people. You out here looking crazy and don't nobody say nothing to you. You know what I'm saying? You come out the bathroom and you got that toilet paper on your shoe, and don't nobody be like, hey, let me take care of you real quick. You walking around, you got toilet paper on your shoe. Well, you know what I'm saying?
Breath stink is a tough one.
All of it, right? It's if nobody's correcting you, you know what I'm saying? It's there's no love for you. You know what I'm saying? Like, your people ain't supposed to have you out here looking wild. You know what I mean? Like, I'm not gonna let nobody I care about out here looking crazy. You know what I'm saying? So I'm gonna say something. So I mean, that's just how I take it. You know, I have a mentor of mine who used to always say, hear the message, never the tone. You know what I'm saying? So delivery really doesn't matter to me. It's all about what's being said. You know what I'm saying? And I rather you tell me everything negative about me. Sometimes I'll ask for people's opinion that I know have a negative opinion of me, and I just want to see how the world views me, or like maybe I'm missing something. It's always about reflecting. You know what I mean? Like maybe there's something I don't see, and I just feel I have enough discernment to pick through. You know what I'm saying? What like maybe they're right about this or wrong about this. I know where their heart is, kind of a situation. You know what I'm saying? So
if you ever need to be chiseled, bruh, I'm that iron.
Hey, sure. I accept any criticism you have, and like I'm gonna listen to it. You know, especially if I respect your opinion, which I do. You know, if you had any criticism for me, hey, I'm here to listen, and I'll take it in and reflect. And if I think you're full of it, then I'm like, I ain't full of it. I mean, nothing. You know,
that's how people are that trying to grow anyway. You know what I'm saying? They really accepting the critique. Go ahead.
I do think what Dwayne said too, like people don't receive it well, even if that isn't your intent. I remember like one consistent thing that I used to get in dating a lot when I was dating was that I treat my relationship like a business. And I never understood that, but I knew how to do business really well, right? Because I'm a business owner. And so at first I thought it was just like this one person, but then it was consistently something that came up over time, like with different relationships that I was in. And I was like, okay, then I gotta do some self-reflection to see, okay, what is it in my delivery? Because that's likely what it is, where this man is telling me, I am not your client. You are not going to treat me like a business. So you do have to be able to take that in and reevaluate.
That puts me in the mind of I work for the electric utility company here in Chicagoland. And we were trained on three-way communication. And so it is very important that what you say is also received the way you intended for it to receive. And then the third part is that the receiver acknowledges that they received it in the way that you intended it, because things can go wrong, especially in my line of business. Things can go quite wrong when that communication is broken down somewhere, whereas even down to the letter, or it sounded like you said something. That's why we use the phonetic alphabet. What is it? The phonetic alphabet, Alpha, Bravo, Charlie, because you want your communication to be clear. This is what I mean. But here's the problem in this era where no one wants to be wrong. And a lot of times I've been guilty of being stubborn. At times, people are stubborn. You want to stay fixed in your way of thinking, then that communication breaks down. I heard what you said, but I'm still going to receive it like this. And that's why I urge a lot of us in relationships to assume positive intent. If I know you're not trying to hurt me, I don't believe you're trying to hurt me. So I can't believe that what you're saying is intentionally hurtful. You might just have a different perspective. And so, that communication piece is very important, going both ways. Hey, how I said it, and to make sure that, who I said it to is received properly. Yeah.
That's good. I think Shane, you're the last one if you have something to say.
No, I don't have anything in particular to say. I mean, I did agree with the statements about your love bank. So everybody summed it up beautifully.
That's what's up. Was there somebody that didn't get to go? Mm-hmm. That would like to go? Well, what did y'all think of? Go ahead.
Oh, I want to speak to that the love bank thing. I thought that was a great analogy because a lot of people don't really realize that every relationship is just that simple. Some people take and withdraw, and some people deposit. And I think a relationship, in order for it to be healthy, it needs to be a healthy mix of both. And I even use the analogy of a parent and a newborn child. That there's a healthy balance of give and take, because what happens is that child is supposed to give that parent or those parents joy, happiness, hope for the future, maybe some discipline, and that's appreciated, some lessons on selflessness, right? And in turn, the parents offer shelter, food, protection, teaching, and this and that. Now, when that baby isn't perceived as joy, love, and hope, then the neglect happens on the parents' side. So, and that's where abuse takes place, and that relationship is broken down from birth, because that child isn't appreciated or viewed as joy, right? And so that's a subconscious thing. It's not like a child consciously gives a parent joy or what have you. But I'm saying that's how it can go back to that relationship is viewed as a healthy mix of give and take. And every relationship going forward, friendships, work relationships, those relationships work best when both parties are depositing And I would dare to say almost keeping the withdrawal to a minimum. Almost, it's like I don't want anything. I want to just be able to do this for you. Like me and my closest guys, like that. We go hard for each other. And so I got my oldest daughter is very selfish girl. It's crazy. We actually didn't communicate for a while because she was a taker. And I explained it to her. And she's like, yeah, Daddy, I know everybody keep telling me I'm selfish. I'm like, yo, well, do something about it. I'm trying to do my part in maintaining the relationship. Still, she's working on it. But that was a breakdown of whereas she was doing more withdrawing than depositing. You know what I'm saying? And it could happen in every relationship. So, every relationship could be just that simple. Are they depositing or withdrawing more than they're depositing? So I thought it was a beautiful analogy.
That's what's up, man. I really appreciate y'all time this evening. Been another great dope. I'll say a dope show. You know what I'm saying? Am I exaggerating?
Not at all.
I'm not picking up what you're putting down. I'm telling you, no. As a matter of fact, that's for the birds.
Listen, I don't like the honesty that you provide. Okay. All right.
Write me an email to complain about it.
100%. I appreciate y'all time, man. This has been dope as usual. Tune in to part 3. I reached out to a couple of my homies for next week. Trill and Quest are gonna come and drop some knowledge, and we're gonna talk about the grass is not always greener. That's what we're gonna talk about. So that'll be part 3, and we'll see who comes back.
I got something on that.
All right, that's a bet. Don't forget to like, share, comment, subscribe to the channel. You also got Prototype on Tuesdays at 8 Central. Am I right again? 8
Central, 9 Eastern.
That's a bet. And then if you want your taxes done, or you want to talk about money management, go see Shay. You know what I'm saying? You can go over there. And all these people can be found on Instagram except Dwayne because he's anti-social media. All right? So you can catch him other places. Then you got Shan over there doing her TikTok videos. I got to hang out with the kids and my mom on Saturday. I was messing with Promise. You know what I'm saying? I don't know why she's talking about I wasn't matching, and she had on 2 different colors herself that didn't go together. For sure. Right. And then Sir Charles the Guide is over there with Sir Hale Speaks. I think he might be coming next week too. So we'll see.
Yeah. I also got my own channel where I co-host a show with my brother-in-law, Mindfully Misunderstood.
That's right. When is it come on? When is it out?
Yeah. Well, you know what? I'm be honest with you, man. We're struggling with what do you call that? Consistency, man. But I have a business that just failed, so I'll be on YouTube a lot more often.
Just a bit. Well, keep us posted. Then you got Miss Simone. She act like she knew, but she not. You know what I'm saying? She's not new to this for sure. Very good conversation. And you can find her on Instagram as well if you wanted to shout out to her and get some understanding of how you be married for 17 plus years. All right, and Dwayne doing photos, and catch him on DwayneJonesPhotography.com. And you can always go to www.humbledad.life if you want to check me out. All right. Until next time, we out here. Deuces.
The boy is dangerous.
Bad feeling about this.
You don't seem to understand something.
The thing that I like most about being a dad is that I see that I'm about to impact the world.